If you've ever felt guided but still unsure who's actually helping you, this might be why. You don't have just one spirit guide, you actually have a team. And not knowing who they are is often the reason the guidance feels faint, confusing, or maybe inconsistent. Well, in today's episode, you'll learn three things. First, why most people struggle to hear spirit because they're actually expecting just one guide. Second, the different roles within your spirit guide team and how each one supports you. And third, how to connect with your guides and begin recognizing who's actually working with you. And by listening, you're going to understand your spirit guide team. And when that happens, you're going to start feeling that guidance stops feeling random and starts feeling reliable. But without that understanding, many people just stay stuck questioning their intuition, missing signs and assuming that the problem is them, when in fact it's not. Well, hey there, and welcome to Spirits Beside Us. I'm Chris Lippincott, international medium and best-selling author, helping you connect with spirit with confidence and peace. And today we're diving into how you can discover your spirit guides and why you actually have more than one. Now, you see, most people think that they only have one spirit guide, and that's actually not true. And understanding why changes everything about how guidance shows up for you. You see, almost everybody that I work with actually starts here. They're saying, well, who is my spirit guide? Singular. They imagine one guide assigned to them for life. One voice, one presence, one way that guidance should feel for them. And when guidance just doesn't feel consistent, or when it's showing up differently, or maybe it starts to go quiet for a bit, that's where the doubt usually starts to creep in. But you see, the issue isn't that guidance just stopped. It's that the model that people are using is actually incomplete. See, you don't just have one guide. You have a team of guides, and each one supports you in a different way, depending on what you're dealing with in your life at that moment. You see, that's why guidance doesn't always sound the same, or feel the same, or actually come through the same way for you. Now, that's important because so many people come to me worried that they're actually doing something wrong. They'll say things like, oh, Chris, sometimes guidance just feels loving and gentle, but other times it feels firm and direct. Or sometimes I feel presence really clearly, and other times it's so subtle and quiet. What do I do? And they're assuming that that inconsistency means that maybe they're blocked, or they're disconnected, or they're imagining things. But you see, in most cases, it simply means a different guide is actually stepping in to work with them. So think of your guides like specialists. You might have a guide that supports emotional healing, maybe another that helps with protection or grounding, another that steps in during major life transitions, and another that supports intuition, creativity, or mediumship. See, they're not all talking at once, and they're not competing. They step in and step forward when their particular support is actually needed. So here's an easy way to think about it. If something's wrong with your car, you don't call your therapist, do you? Or if you're processing grief, you don't call your accountant. I hope not. I mean, maybe your accountant could actually cause you grief. But different people help with different things, and spirit kind of works the same way. And this is where the confidence starts to matter. When you think that guidance should always feel the same, you end up questioning yourself every single time that it doesn't. You start to second guess. It's human nature. You overthink. You replay that experience in your head time and again. But when you understand that you're supported by a team, that pressure just drops away. You stop asking, was that real? Is that me? What's going on? You start asking, what kind of support was that? You see, I've seen this over and over again, whether it's in readings or in development circles, even in my own connection. See, once people understand they're working with more than one guide, their connection actually becomes clearer, not more complicated, because they stop forcing guidance to fit one expectation that they've got. And I want to say this clearly, so if you're multitasking, come back to me. You're not meant to figure this out perfectly. You're not meant to label every guide correctly. And you're definitely not meant to strain or try harder. That's going to do the opposite. Guidance works best when you're relaxed and receptive, not when you're testing yourself. So if guidance has felt different at different times in your life, that's not a problem. It's actually a sign that support is adapting to you. You're being met where you are at that time. So now that you understand you're supported by a team, not just one guide, the next step is understanding how that team actually works and what the roles of the different guides actually are within your team. Because once you know the roles, the guidance stops feeling random and starts feeling reliable. And that's exactly what we're going to start talking about next. So let's talk about your master guide, your kind of team leader. Every spirit team is led by what's often called a master guide. And this guide acts like the manager or the director of your team. Think of him like the conductor of an orchestra. See, the master guide's involved in the bigger picture of your life, your soul lessons, your direction, and the themes that you're usually working through. See, they're usually the guide that you sense most often over the course of your life. And in many cases, this guide has been with you across multiple lifetimes. Your master guide doesn't necessarily speak the loudest, but they really coordinate everything. They make sure that the right guide steps forward when you need specific support. So let's talk about your gatekeeper guide, kind of your protector. And another very important guide is that gatekeeper. This is the protector of your spirit team. And I like to think of these guides as kind of like the bouncers of your spirit team. Their role is to control access to you and to your energy, deciding who gets through and trying to keep you safe, physically, emotionally, and energetically. See, they regulate what energies are allowed to work with you, and they prevent overload. This is why not every spirit is going to show up all at once. So, how does a gatekeeper feel? The energy is strong, grounded, steady. People often experience them as large in presence, calm but powerful. Sometimes they appear human like, and they're often seen as either warriors or maybe Native Americans, and other times they might appear as animals wolves, panthers, bears, eagles, what have you. That animal form isn't symbolic, it just reflects the strength and the function of the guide. That animal form reflects the vigilance and the guardianship. In one meditation, for example, I actually encountered my gatekeeper as a wolf, and a lot of people do. In that meditation, he wasn't threatening. He was just strong, watchful, and deeply familiar. And I knew instinctively that this guide had been protecting me and guiding me long before I'd ever consciously noticed him. See, he'd actually been shadowing me for my lifetime, and only at that time, he came out of the woods in this meditation and presented himself. He felt very protective and loyal, just like wolves do. That sense of quiet protection is classic gatekeeper energy. It was an amazing meditation. So let's talk about your message bearer guide. See, message bearer guides help with communication. They help you receive, interpret, and deliver information from the spirit world. They help you receive messages clearly, whether that's intuitive knowing or hearing or seeing or sensing. And that guide is especially active for people who are developing their mediumship or their intuitive skills. And so how do they show up? They're often appearing as birds, whether it's hawks or eagles or falcons. That's because their role is speed and clarity and vision. They help information travel quickly and accurately. And when messages actually are coming through clearly and they're very sudden and decisive, that's often a message that's a messenger guide at work. So what about healing guides? They're actually referred to as energetic medics. These guides support your spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being. They work with your energy field, your chakras, and your body. They also teach you how to heal, not just receive healing. Many people can connect with healing guides during grief or illness or burnout or just emotional exhaustion. And their energy feels calm, nurturing, and stabilizing. People are often experiencing warmth, peace, or soothing presence. And if guidance feels nurturing rather than instructional, healing energy is usually involved. So now what about teacher guides? Sometimes they're referred to as wisdom guides. Teacher guides actually help you to learn. They guide your spiritual education, your understanding, and your growth. And they're often directing you to books, classes, teachers, or experiences that you need to progress. They help you integrate spiritual concepts into real life, not just theory. In fact, in another meditation, I encountered my spiritual guide, my teacher guide, as an eagle. And that eagle had a wide wingspan and a sharp vision, and it could see far in every direction. And that's a teacher guide's energy. They help you see the bigger picture and understand how things can connect. And obviously, an eagle's got great vision. So that was pretty obvious. And what about doctor or philosopher guides, which come from higher understanding? These are often your main guide. These guides are going to help you understand why things happen. They support deep reflection, existential understanding, and spiritual philosophy. Their guidance often comes through as maybe sudden insight, realization, or sense of profound knowing. They kind of help you connect the dots between experiences, lessons, and meanings. And when guidance feels thoughtful or reflective or deeply wise rather than emotional, a philosopher guide is probably present and giving you that information. Then there's chemist guides. A chemist guide works with energy transformation. They help shift emotional states, dissolve energetic blocks, and facilitate interchange. These guides are especially active during healing work, manifestation, and personal transformation. People often feel the presence as subtle energy and subtle internal shifts, like something's quietly rearranging or balancing. And these guides help you integrate change rather than forcing it or ramming it through. Joy guides are great. Now, these are one of the most misunderstood yet important guides that you have. Joy guides actually help you experience happiness, lightness, and love in the physical life. They often show up as youthful, playful energy, sometimes as a child, and they remind you that joy itself is spiritual, and that's why they come through as children. Can you imagine a sad child? For a long time, I felt warm, tingling sensations, especially in my arms, my shoulders, and I didn't realize what was causing it. Eventually, I recognized that those sensations always came with happiness. When I finally asked who was responsible, my joy guide made herself known. And that joy-filled presence wasn't random. It was support. It was timing. And then, of course, there are specialist guides. These guides are kind of in your outer band and are much more similar to subcontractors. This is kind of like what I like to call them. They're there when you need a specialist job. They step in during specific phases, transitions, awakenings, challenges, and then they step back. Doesn't mean that they leave you. It just means that the role is complete. You ask for them, they arrive, they do the job, and they leave. So now here's what matters most. You're not expected to identify every guide because you can't. You're not expected to name them. You're not expected to analyze every experience. The goal isn't precision. It's just trust and relationship. When you know you're supported by a team, you just stop assuming inconsistency means failure. You stop doubting yourself when guidance feels different, and you start recognizing support instead of just questioning it all the time. So now that you know that you actually have a team and you understand the different roles within the team, the next step is learning how to recognize which guide is stepping in. Again, without forcing or overthinking it. And so that's what we're going to talk about next. But before we go any further, just take a moment and notice what you're feeling as you listen right now. You don't need to analyze it. Just notice what's around you. Notice how you feel. That awareness is already part of how guidance works. And if any of this feels familiar, that's not coincidence. It's usually meaning that you've already been sensing your guides, but you just didn't have words for it. So next, I'm going to show you how to recognize which guide is stepping in using sensations that you already experience every single day. So now what we got to do is begin to understand not only the different roles, but how they feel. Let's make this experiential, okay? Because the fastest way to build confidence isn't by thinking, it's by feeling and experiencing. You don't need to see anything. You don't need to hear anything. You don't need to force anything. This isn't about making something happen. It's about noticing what's already there. And if at any point This feels subtle. That's okay. Subtle is real, and that's usually how you're going to experience it. So let's do a short meditation where you can feel your guides and feel their different energies. So wherever you are right now, just allow your body to settle. If it feels comfortable, soften your gaze, or if you're able to, you can close your eyes. You can always come back to do this meditation and do this later if you choose. Take a slow breath in through your nose and gently exhale through your mouth. Focus on the feeling of the air coming in through your nose and leaving out through your mouth. And then repeat that for a few more breaths. In, out. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. You don't need to go anywhere. Just be here now. Now bring your attention just slightly outside your body and imagine the space around you. The air around your shoulders, your chest, your back. And imagine a wide, hazy, egg-shaped globe of energy just surrounding you. That's your energy, your aura. So you're not imagining something new. You're just simply noticing what's around you. Now, this space, that aura, that egg-shaped energy, that space is part of your energetic field. Now, gently, and again, only if it feels comfortable, invite in one of your guides to step a little closer into your awareness. Have them step into that space, into your aura. Invite them in with love. Come, friend, please step into my space so that I can know your energy. You don't need to know which guide this is. Just notice what happens. Notice what you feel. And whatever you sense, it will be very, very subtle. So don't be surprised if you don't even feel anything in the first attempt, and that's okay. You might feel a temperature change, or maybe a subtle pressure somewhere, or a feeling of calm just gently wash over you, or a sense of being accompanied. Like that feeling you get when someone is standing next to you or maybe behind you. You could also experience what feels like cobwebs on your face, or a sudden and inexplicable knowing that something or someone is there. See, there's no right experience, but whatever you notice, even if it's very subtle, take a moment to register it. This is an energy signature of your guide, a kind of a call sign, something that you can use to remember who's coming in. You don't need to label it. Just notice how this presence feels. What does it feel like to you? Now, with appreciation, gently ask this guide to step back with love. Thank you, friend. Please step back with love. Notice what changes. Notice if you feel any downshift of the energy or the call sign as the imprint becomes softer and the energy starts to dissipate. So you see, even the absence of a sensation is information itself. That shift helps you learn the difference between the presence of a guide and the departure of a guide. Now you can invite in another guide forward. Have them step into your energy. Again, no need to even know who it is. Just notice what's different this time. Come, friend. I invite a new guide to come in. Maybe the energy feels lighter or steadier or more expansive or more grounding. This comparison is how discernment begins to develop, not through effort, but just through familiarity. Just kind of like recognizing someone's presence without even seeing them. Focus on the feeling. Now gently thank this guide to step back as well. Ask them to step back with love. Thank you, friend. Thank you for your energy. I ask you to step back with love. What does that feel like? Notice the subtle downshift again as the energy slowly recedes. Now, if all of this felt very subtle, that's okay, and that's normal. Guidance is not meant to be dramatic. Clarity comes from repetition, not intensity. See, this is how you begin recognizing your guides, not by names, not by labels, but by how they feel. Focus on the feeling. Over time, you'll start to notice patterns. That's when confidence grows. All right, so now begin to return your awareness back to your breathing again. Focus on the inhalation through your nose and the exhalation through your mouth. Take one more slow breath in through your nose and out your mouth. Feel your body again. Feel the weight of the body and the weight of the clothes on your skin. Wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingers. Sense the room you're in. Then when you're ready, gently open your eyes and refocus. Now you see nothing that you experienced was imagined. You didn't create it. You noticed it. And always remember, the imagination cannot make you feel physical sensations or things in your body. Those physical sensations were your physical energetic responses that your body was picking up from the energetic connection with your guides. That distinction matters. This is a practice you can return to anytime. And the more that you do it, the easier the recognition becomes. You see, if you'd like to keep exploring this connection, I've created a free Spirit Guide Connection Starter Kit. It walks you step by step through how to quiet your mind, recognize guidance, and begin trusting what you feel without overthinking it. You'll find the link in the description and in the show notes. See, there's nothing to force, nothing to believe, just a simple way to deepen what you're already experiencing. And it's all about feeling. And if you feel comfortable, I'd really love to hear what you noticed during this practice today. And you can share it in the comments, whether that was a sensation, a feeling, maybe a sense of calm, or even if it just felt subtle, some kind of energy shift. There's no right or wrong experience. So let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Now, the very biggest challenge for most people are feeling after this is doubt. Once you start feeling the guidance, the mind kicks in and starts thinking, was that real? Or was I just imagining it? And that question alone stops a lot of people from trusting what they felt. So I walk you through that in the episode I titled 15 Ways to Know It's Spirit, Not Your Imagination. And I've linked that here so you can listen to that right away. So thank you for listening again today. Keep raising your vibration. Love and light. This is Chris.